Hey guys, Chris here from Carolot Farm. In this video, I want to share with you updates from the month of June. June was really busy for us here on the mini farm. We had the vet out for spring shots, coggins, as well as checking teeth. We have a few horses that do need a float this summer. We worked hard to load our hay barn with hay. We had to pick up 2 separate loads, so things are moving in the right direction there. And I also want to share just general updates on how our 4 minis and our 1 full-size horse are doing here on the farm. So let's get to it. For starters, the boys are still getting their 2 scoops of soaked hay pellets with just a really small handful of senior feed. So I'm going to start with them, and then I will make my way next door to feeding Sweetheart, who is still in the backfield. I'm still feeding Shenanigans and Rocky down here in our grass ring. I'll dump their feet into their tubs, slip them underneath. I know Shannon's coming. He started to kind of nicker in the mornings. He's so sweet. And after I feed them, I will close the gate so that they will remain here until Sweetheart is all finished up. For the month of June, the boys have still been splitting 1 flake of hay once a day. I tend to give this to them in the mornings, and just as soon as they're finished eating and Sweetheart is all finished and turned out, I let them back into the barnyard and they come and usually work on their hay right away. So that's working well. Their weight looks really good. You know, Sweetheart is still not getting loose hay, but she's looking really good on just the grass and her hay pellets. So I've got to say I'm pretty happy with how everyone's doing right now here at the back of the farm. I want to show you just to look at her nostrils. You know, today is a pretty good day. They're flared a little, and you know, she is breathing a little harder than most horses. You can see her abdomen heaving a little, but all in all, I'm gonna say that this is a pretty good start to the day. On a day like today, when her nostrils are just moderately flared and she's not heaving too heavily, this would probably be a day when she would get 2 puffs of her inhaler. Some days she is puffing more rapidly, and those are days when I give her 3 puffs, and sometimes she even needs additional medication to help quiet her breathing and open her airways. But for right now, she's looking pretty good today, and we'll just have to keep a close eye on her though, because it's gonna get really, really hot, and high heat and humidity are really, really challenging on my horse with asthma. I imagine that might be true for most horses with asthma, but I definitely know, speaking from my own personal experience with my little mare here, hot, humid days can be really, really difficult. And once she kind of gets all inflamed and kind of has that asthma attack or kind of working towards that, it can take days, if not weeks, to overcome the inflammation and the irritation that builds up. So again, we're doing our very best to keep her from ever escalating to that point, again, to the best of our abilities. And so far, so good. But again, wish us luck, because it is going to be really, really hot this week. On our super hot, humid days, such as today, I do bring Sweetheart back into her shade shelter in the afternoon hours. She's usually here from anywhere, I would say, starting as early as 1 until dinner time, which could be as late as 7. She has multiple fans, she has fresh water, she has that shade like I told you, and I do give her a small handful of hay. In addition to the morning flake of hay that these 2 young boys share, I am giving them a small handful on these hot days just to help entice them to stay in the shade here. They can also take in a little bit of that breeze from the fans, and so I know that these 2 seem to very much enjoy this. So let me talk a moment now about hay. Here in Virginia, spring was hot and dry, and very few farmers got any substantial first cutting of hay, which was very worrisome. We were, however, able to get 25 bales from our hay farmer that we used last winter, and then we found another hay farmer a little farther away where we were able to pick up another 60 bales. So in total, we have purchased in the month of June 85 bales of hay. Both rounds of hay are first cutting orchard. This hay here is kind of our overflow. My hay barn is filled to the gills, and we had a few extra bales that I did not want to get rained on. So they're here in our stall, which means the boys only have access to 1 stall as a shared run-in. But because they get along so well, that's perfectly fine for them, which means I can use this stall for our hay. My husband will be the first to tell you, to have the hay barn filled with hay is such a relief, especially because we know it's probably going to be a little harder to come by this winter, and what you do find is going to be quite expensive. And so the barn is full, we have the overflow on that stall, and likely as we head towards the end of summer, whenever the hay farmers start getting their second cutting, we'll do our best to get another shipment of hay, and that should get us through the winter months. But I need to go back and run my numbers from last winter to make sure that we've budgeted enough. Now we do have timber up front, and we're kind of thinking that probably she will do best on a couple of round bales. But again, we just have to figure that out, line up the hay, get it covered so it lasts throughout the winter months, and we'll keep you updated. But this is a pretty good sight to see. Another thing that we did in the month of June is we had the vet out. June actually was a pretty busy month for us. So when the vet came, the primary focus to the visit was to ensure that all of the horses got their core spring vaccines. Everyone had their coggins pulled, which means they have a clean bill of health should we want to leave the farm and school somewhere or perhaps go to a show. We can do that. And we wanted to have everyone's teeth checked because we did have some concerns and questions about some of the horses. We did suspect that Timber likely had sharp points, and lo and behold, she did. Last winter, she was having some issues with her mouth that were never really gotten to the bottom of, so I'm so glad we had the vet out. Now we know, and now we can really address the issue and get her back on track. Most likely what happened with Timber last winter when she was at the other farm is those sharp points in her mouth nicked her cheek or something and caused inflammation. It's like when you bite your cheek or your tongue and then it swells and then you continue to bite it. And so she was definitely showing signs of discomfort. She was not wanting to take the bit. She was not wanting to eat treats. She was dropping food out of her mouth. We haven't seen any of that from her since she came here to the farm in the spring. So I was not totally sure it was her teeth. I thought, well, maybe she had some other issue. Maybe she had some other impaction or something else was, bothering her mouth. But hearing the vet talk about her having these sharp points definitely makes sense because the signs that she was showing and exhibiting in the winter certainly would have made you first kind of have cause for concern over her teeth and that likelihood of needing them floated. In the mornings after Timber finishes eating, she definitely wants her fly mask and her fly spray. This fly mask, this is her third fly mask of the season. It's been a funny season, but this is a very special fly mask. One, if I can get her to pick her head up here, I want to show you something. Pick your head up, sweetie. This one has the nose piece on it, and Timber, let me show you, has a white skin, or it's pink skin, white hair on her nose, which means this skin here is much more sensitive and therefore it is prone to sunburn. I've never had a horse with so much white on their face before, and so the sunburn factor is not something that I was as familiar with. My niece was trying to put cream and such on her nose to protect it, and let me tell you, Timber was not a big fan of anything being put on her nose. And so we figured we would try this new mask with that nose piece on it. There is SPF in the entire fly mask from the top to the nose piece itself. And that 60 SPF that is in this Weatherbeater brand mask seems to be doing the trick. Her nose looks much better. We're not having to put anything else on it. Here is another look at Timber's nose. You can see that pink skin, and that is where she was experiencing sunburn. She was getting little crusty blister spots, and so thankfully it looks much better now. One of the projects that we have been working on throughout the month of June, which is still ongoing, has been enclosing this end of the field. This will someday provide additional turnout for the horses. I'm really happy with the progress that we have made out here. It's been so hot, like I was telling you earlier, though, that sometimes we come and just do a few posts at a time. We might even end up doing the other half of the field with T-posts and the kind of the electric poly wire. We're pretty big fans of that. We have quite a bit of that here on the farm. But we're not in such a rush to enclose this front field just yet because let me show you. Timber's current field is still really, really green. She's doing so well. Her weight looks fantastic.
And so this new field I can see might be super handy and helpful come this fall and into the winter months. We want to rest her current field that she's in now, but we don't quite have the push to get her out here ASAP that I felt we did earlier in the spring when everything was drying up. It's been hot and humid, which means we're getting showers, and although it's hard to do a lot of work when it's hot and humid, the showers do mean that the grass is growing. So those are fantastic things. We will take the rain when and where we get it. There are still a few new items I want to mention, such as the jumps. My niece and her father have been building jumps. We have cavalettis, they're building standards, and that is just so exciting because it allows my niece and her horse Timber to start jumping a little. That's new for them, and so they're making great progress. I'll attach a few clips just so you can see how well they're doing. You know, Timber has been going very quietly and relaxed under saddle as of late, and so that is just a really wonderful thing that I look forward to sharing with you now.
It's so nice to be able to share these clips of Timber and Ella together. The two of them have made tremendous progress in just a few short months since Timber arrived here on the farm. You know, she's soft, she's becoming supple. She is still green, and we still have moments where she, is a little wiggly and she's not always straight, but she is making such fantastic progress. Here, she's just beginning to learn how to jump. She's quietly trotting over poles, very small cross rails, and she's even beginning to put forth a little effort and actually jump these smaller jumps, which is a wonderful thing, and to then canter away. I couldn't hardly ask for more. So I'm just so pleased with the progress these girls have both made, and I'll continue to share progress with you as they continue on their journey.
Good girl.
So now that I've shared some updates on Timber and how she's doing, I want to talk a little about Lady here.
I want to show you just how good Lady looks down here. She is so nice and round. She's got that belly on her. She has finally finished shedding. She actually ended up shedding out better this year than last year. When I adopted her in August, her legs were super shaggy still, but I'm really happy to see that she has finally dropped all of that shag on her belly as well as her legs. She looks fantastic. You can see this blue spot though up here on her rump. That is where she has taken to rubbing her bum on our blue gate. She's a funny girl, but she looks so good this time of year, and I just know that she is happy, she is content. She and Timber are very good friends. We might even try introducing them as pasture mates here in the near future. But taking a look at Lady's field, you know, we did actually have to mow it the other day because things are getting a bit tall and lush. But because her teeth are not great, this grass is excellent for her. Another new addition in June are fans. We have fans mounted in both Timber's run-in as well as Lady's next door, so that was a fantastic addition. I'm really happy to have them. The horses are still getting acclimated to them, but I'm sure in time they will come to really appreciate them, so I'm so glad to have those fans up. With the month of June having been so hot, we are finding here on the farm that our troughs need to be scrubbed, dumped, and refilled much more regularly. I'm betting a big trough like this probably at max can go a week to a week and a half before it needs to be completely dumped and refilled. You hate to waste the water, however, it's really, really important that our horses have clean, cool drinking water at their disposal at all times. If a trough like this gets too low, the water inside that dark gray trough gets really hot. And again, the horses are not going to be as inclined to drink it. So keeping your troughs filled and clean is really, really important this time of year. I want to show you our lower side paddock. It has been resting for the month of June. The grass is growing nicely. It's rebounded after the boys were grazing out here earlier in the spring. And so this is just kind of ready and waiting for if and when I need to put horses on it. It might seem silly, but I have also taken to putting swat on the boys' rumps as well as up under their bellies. I feel the bugs and the flies are really, really bad sometimes, especially in the afternoon hours. And so this little trick does seem to help. Thanks for joining me today here on the farm. The little boys are gonna make their way up to the barn, eat their morning hay. They're pretty content these days. Everyone's doing really well, and I'm so happy that I was able to show you a little more about our routine and what we've been up to this month of June. It's been pretty busy. But this makes me so happy to see those little boys head right into that shared stall. They're such good friends. The last thing I will mention though, before I officially say farewell, is you may have noticed they do not have fly masks on, and that is because they still pull them off. These two boys love to play, and it's almost always Shenanigans who pulls off Rocky's mask. So right now they have a stall for shelter, but no masks. Check back, we'll have more updates, and we hope to see you in the future. Bye guys.